Welcome, everybody, to the Gate Expectations podcast, where I bring in a weekly guest, talk all things Yu-Gi-Oh!, and get to know a little more about each person I talk to. This is the only Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast that is run by a full-fledged journalist such as myself. This is episode 20. If you haven't checked it out yet, you can check out earlier podcasts with guests like Stephen Trivanowski, Jesse Cotton, Team Samurai X1, Doug Z, Farfa, and many more. My guests for this week are a Yu-Gi-Tuber duo with over 21,000 subscribers. They have played the game for almost 2 years and are known for an abundance of cute little alpaca plushies. It's Logan and Bryan, a.k.a. Crush Cards. Logan, Bryan, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us. I'm excited. This is our first time doing this sort of thing, so we're woo.
Well, first of all, Logan, you have the distinct honor, first of all, being the first woman, and then Bryan as well, the first duo to be a part of my podcast. So this is going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of woolly banter between you two, I can tell.
It'll be a time of beautiful firsts.
Yeah, it definitely will. And you know, your channels, you know, you haven't spent you haven't been on YouTube a whole long there, but already you guys have so many subscribers, and it's a really, to me, when I watch your channel, I find it's really like playful, it's wholesome, but it's fun and sincere, and that's why I kind of enjoy watching your videos. Like when I showed my girlfriend your Thanksgiving alpaca skit, she was just like ogling over all the alpacas that were there. She wanted, and as I told you in the messenger, like she wanted to know, like, where did you get that glowing alpaca? As you saw, I have a couple alpacas here myself that belong to her. So let's walk us through here at the start of your YouTube channel. Like, how did it all start, first of all?
Oh boy. It kind of happened all accidentally. I feel like that's how most things really happen. But basically, like, it started out as a totally different thing. We collect the like Funko Pop bobblehead things, and we saw like a little over. What was? Oh my god, it was almost 2 years ago at this point.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah,
now.
It's crazy. We saw the first wave of the Yu-Gi-Oh pops come out, where it's just Yugi and Kaiba and the Blue Eyes. And we're like, oh, that's really cool. We didn't even know that like Funko cared about Yu-Gi-Oh! And that was really neat. So the nostalgia in us was like, let's go pick them up. And so we did. And then we just got spurred into it. And we're like, oh, hey, it's like on Netflix. We could watch like the OG Duel Monsters just because, and let's relive being 10 again. And we did. And we were like, wow, this show's really bad. And like, we were like, these totally, like, even when we didn't know how to play the game yet, we were like, he's cheating like every episode. Like, how did this man get all these star chips? And so we were like, this is actually really fun. Like, I don't know, the child in us was really excited about it. And we're like, I think we still have cards up in the attic. So let's go get the cards upstairs and play Dark Magician versus Blue Eyes.
Yeah, I feel like a ton of people have their like old collection laying around somewhere, whether it's like at their parents' house
when you were
like
8.
like in like one of your like junk drawers or something, all beat up. Everyone knows that they're like, you know, not sleeved. They're like held together by rubber bands and like a plastic bag. So we literally did just that. We found that, and like one night, I think we went and got like Taco Bell or something, and we were like, we had Taco Bell, and we were like playing for the first time at like in our 20s
with illegal like 70 card decks unsleeved, like having absolutely no idea the mechanics of the game. We were just for fun. Yeah, like shenanigans while we were watching the show, and like we were trying to learn from the show, which let me say is the biggest mistake. So it was a horrible decision. But then we got brave one day. We started going to Walmart, and we were like, oh, they still have like Yu-Gi-Oh packs at Walmart?
We were really surprised.
In 2018? What? Yeah. And so we just got them. We're like, wow, these cards are really shiny, but like, what are all these blue and like arrows, and what are all these cards?
Like black cards and white cards, and what's a tuner? Wait, what?
We were very alarmed. And so we were like, well, we have literally no idea how to use these cards. So we started watching YouTube videos, and we came across Yu-Gi-Tubers for the first time, and then we got brave and went to our locals and discovered our locals. And boy, oh boy, we showed up with, I think you had Layer of Darkness and I had Dark Magician. And
oh boy,
those were some dark times. We did not do super well at first, but our locals is extremely kind and full of really wonderful competitive players who, saw that we were brand new and big-eyed, and they were like, hey, we're going to help you out. And so really, we have our locals to thank for us becoming any sort of decency at the game. But from then on, it really just turned into watching YouTube videos and trying to learn the mechanics of a link summon. Link summons were the weirdest thing to me. I was like, you can just take them off the field and put another card on there in its place. That just blew my mind. So thanks, Funko Pop.
It completely reminds me of when back in the day when Pokemon cards used to come out and everybody would be in like elementary school or middle school, but we'd have no idea how to play the cards. It kind of seems like it's a really similar situation with you guys than when you first started playing.
Yeah, it was literally like, let's just make up the rules until someone tells us how to do it. And thank God we went and sought help.
Yeah. I mean, it only took me the Pokemon like trading card game video game to finally teach me how to play the rules properly. Until then, when you're playing with like the schoolyard with like 3 or 4 cards, everyone's playing it the wrong way, of course. And I'm sure that you guys again have had like similar feelings. I know I definitely had that the very first time I ever picked up a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. So you know, I'm like, thank God now that we finally learned how to play the game properly in this case.
We all learn eventually. It's just a matter of how and how long.
Yeah, absolutely that. So then as you guys started to get more and more to your YouTube channel, like you didn't really start to implement the alpacas until maybe like a couple months in afterwards. So where did that come from?
Oh boy.
So like we started the channel kind of like to tie the two questions together. Our local community, as Logan said, is extremely, extremely small. Like, I think our local store on like the best tournament day ever is like 18 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just like, as you know, it's newer players who sat down, like as Logan said, I was playing Lair and she was playing Dark Magician, and our locals was like Sky Striker, Thunder Dragon, Dragon.
It was the eternal format, and we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And we were like, I was like, all right, cool. So clearly these decks don't work. So it was really nice. Like we met some really, really cool people at our locals, and we sat down and we just wanted to like learn the game better. So that's how we started the channel. We started the channel like as just like a resource because we only have like the 18 people in our little community. So we just wanted to like put it out there, like, you know, as newer players, as like bad players, which is being honest, like we need a little bit more criticism. The YouTube and the internet in general is just the best place to get that.
The perfect place for honest criticism.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, these were our ideas. This is what we think. This is what we wanted to try out. Let us know what you ever let us know what you guys think, and let us know exactly what we're doing wrong, or just like spitballing ideas, because it never hurts to try.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not.
So the channel really just started as like a document for us. Like we didn't, you'll notice if anyone goes, but God help you, if anyone goes back and watches the first few videos on our channel, there's literally no intro. There's no music. It's mostly Bryan. I was barely present for, I think, any of the videos minus some openings. It was really, there was no intention. We literally were just doing it for us for fun.
Yeah.
And like, that was it. The channel had no direction. That's why Tops wasn't there and nothing until I got my invite. And then we made our little, hi, here we are. I guess we should probably introduce ourselves. And then the channel started rolling at that point, and we realized, oh, we should probably start taking this seriously and taking ourselves seriously as players, because we didn't really see ourselves achieving any sort of monumental anything like we did. And so we it was really motivating and great. And then as the channel started getting traction, we had Tops in like the corner of the couch at our old house. And people were like, he didn't say or do anything. We just like would Photoshop things on him and jump cut to him sometimes. And people got really attached to him.
Yeah, he was there because, like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's been so long, but like he was there because we were using our phones because we didn't have a camera. Yeah. And like we couldn't like adjust the size of like what we were doing. So we just wanted more things that weren't negative space.
To like avoid.
So like we're like, we got a couple stuffed animals, we got a pillow, I think we got like a blanket to put on the back of the couch. This is a little bit better than just nothing.
Yeah, so we were really just trying to fill space, but then everyone started realizing, oh, Tops is really cute, or like the little alpaca is really cute. And we would like talk to Tops more often in videos, and then he just evolved as like a part of the channel. People all the time will be like, oh, you guys are the alpaca people with like 57 alpacas. It didn't start this way. It started as us and then Tops, and believe it or not, I think about 80% of the alpacas we have all been sent to us, which is really wild and really cool.
It's so cool.
It's super sweet. So like the channel and the alpacas have kind of become an extension of like the family, because we put them on the couch with us, because it's like, I mean, everyone sends them to us and we want them to see that, you know, we value everything they do for us in the community, and that it really is something like I like to use the word wholesome, but we really do take everyone very seriously in our community, and we really are proud of it. And we just don't want to discredit any of the love that people have for these little alpacas that have become more of the channel, I think, than we have.
I mean, like the alpacas are like, they're a part of you now. It's what kind of sticks to it. It's like not like a gimmick per se, but it's part of your persona that you guys bring now. And it's like it's hard to get rid of because, you know, again, like the alpaca was born with it into it, and people can't send it to you. So it's a little hard to get a detachment in that case. It's like my cat, for example. I use my cat a lot for like a lot of social media posts now, and then now my cat's become a part of my channel. And I make the joke that because I don't make any money on this podcast yet, that my cat makes more than I do on the pavement.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have, when we're not filming, we do separate. Like, I don't think people realize that we don't go everywhere with tops. We don't bring tops everywhere. I wish we did. We'd probably get looked at a little differently. But like, we were shopping the other day, and I was like, oh, we should get tiny little Santa hats for the alpacas for Christmas. And I'm like, do we need to? Absolutely not. But should we? Probably. And so now like 4 of the alpacas have tiny Santa hats, and I honestly, like, it's fine. That's my life now, and I don't regret it.
I mean, it's so cute. And again, when I showed my girlfriend, like, she loved looking at all the alpaca. And it's really cute now that you got this going on, which is fantastic for you. It's something for you to stand out, which is definitely something you got to do, like in this like oversaturated market of Yu-Gi tubers that happen. So it's nice that you have like your own little persona, like your own unique thing, which is fun to have. And I always love watching like you guys kind of like voice over your own alpacas. I always found that really comical. But one question that I did want to ask though is that how come that not all the time, but sometimes you decide to like whisper the voices out with your alpacas rather than like actually like speak out?
I mean, I guess I don't really have like a
that's like
it's hard to explain. Do you mean like when the alpacas are just talking as themselves, like, or
yeah, when they're talking as themselves? Because I know you kind of like whisper your voices, like they're not entirely kind of strong. It's like, how to put this? I feel like I'm going to make a really bad impression just because I'm laughing so much about this whole entire thing. Oh God! Oh, I don't even know if I can probably impersonate you guys now on this because I'm just laughing way too hard. But
it's on. Go ahead. Judgment is coming.
Uh-oh.
But I'm trying to think. So like, whenever, like when the alpacas talk, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think when the channel and like the alpaca, because it was tops for the longest time. It was just tops.
It was literally just the one.
And so there was no real like conversing going on. But then as we started getting more alpacas and we started like naming them and giving them kind of like personality, they are literally sentient at this point. I'm pretty sure they are their own sentient beings. And so I don't know. I don't know how the channel has become what it is with the alpacas, but we really just rolled with it, and like we're comfortable enough with our community where, you know what, why not? Yeah. Why not? So I think it's more, and like people really thrive off of the personalities of the alpacas and just like their own quirks, and like I don't know, like we think we're lots of fun, but I think just I don't know.
I think like the alpaca thing was like, it was really interesting to us too, because like TOPS is actually an acronym for Today Our Polls Sucked. And like it was just like, it was one of those things where we went to our locals after, like, once again, just being new and being really bad back, when we first started. We entered a tournament. We thought we were going to do really well. We took all the criticism we got from like either online or just like our group of friends and just like different things like that. And we're like, oh man, we feel really prepared. And I think neither of us won a single game.
Yeah.
And like, you know what feels better? Retail therapy. So we went to like our local Walmart during Easter 2 years ago now, and we bought a bunch of packs, and we bought the alpaca because it was cute. Like we were literally just in the Easter aisle, and we saw the little like stuffed alpacas. There were 6,000 of them. Yeah. And like we feel it's literally, we kick ourselves every day because
we're not buying the whole shelf.
Like we had no idea, like we had no idea that there were going to be that many. But I mean, if we can be completely transparent now, TOPS is extremely gray and extremely worn down. So we just, like, I would say like, what, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There's like 17 at this point.
There's like 4 or 5 of them that are literally like the same exact brand and everything. Because we've been looking for like a quote unquote replacement. Because like TOPS, we love him, but he's not gonna last forever. So, he's a little gray right now.
So we were on a manhunt to try and find like newer versions of him, but none of them look just quite like Tops. And so, and believe it or not, before the channel started, when we first got Tops that Easter, I guess to answer the whole voice thing now that I'm thinking about it, Tops came before the channel. Tops came as we were learning Yu-Gi-Oh! Because we didn't start the channel until almost like 8 months after we started playing. Tops, when we got him, I don't know if we're just weird or what.
We were just hanging out
no,
one night.
No, Tops we just gave him his own voice. We're goofy people.
We were just goofing around at night one night. I think we were like watching Netflix. We had like just hanging out. We just got him. We like brought him up in the bed. We're like, well, I mean, he's white. We don't want to like throw him on the floor. I guess we'll just like. So we just like started looking at him. We're like, he's really soft. He's really cute. He's cute. And then he just like out of nowhere, he just like started talking, and we were like, oh, all right, cool. I guess this is him now. And like,
like we just, I don't know. We're just really weird people. We love stuffed animals, and we just gave him his own little voice. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's it. There's no reason.
And I think that's why, like, when we started, like, when we did the intro video, we were like, well, this little alpaca, like, its name is Today Our Polls Suck. Like, it's literally, its identity is through Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, he's got to be there. Yeah. And then, like, we had no intention for the alpacas to be a thing.
None.
Like, if you go back to all the old videos, once again, we're not asking people to do it. But, like, if you want to take the time and, waste a couple hours, you can go see, like, the comments are like, yo, that alpaca's really cute. We want to see the alpaca more. We want to see that little guy, bring him closer. And we're like, people really like this stuffed animal. Like, I think a lot of people that are new to the channel, they're really thrown by it. They're like, what have I walked into? And I'm like, I know it's a little jarring. So we try not to include the alpacas too much in the videos. We really just have them in the intro at this point because there's so many of them and we don't want them to be like too jarring because we know it's a little weird. But at the same time, it was asked for.
But it's not even that. It's just like at the same time, like I'd rather be known for being the wholesome channel with alpacas for 10 seconds of every video than like anything else. So honestly, I am mad.
I mean, it seems to be working because I just looking at the amount of subscribers you have, you guys like really like found your way to fame really quickly. Like ever since you started this channel, like not too long ago. I mean, it was just over a year ago. In fact, like 3 days, I believe, Bryan, before your 2-year anniversary of playing the game. By the way.
Yes.
Yep.
So I mean, there's that. So how do you think your channel like rose to fame so quickly with that many subscribers? So in such a short amount of time.
Well, we had 68 subscribers on November 29th, 2019. And by December 1st of 2019, we had about 2,800 subscribers in the mere amount of 2 days. And it was really like, I hate to give myself credit, but after I got my invite in Toronto and I did my profile with Sam, that I do not encourage anyone to go watch because I don't want to be subjected to it anymore. But after I did my profile and I went up on December 1st, the channel literally exploded in like all the right ways. And it was really cool because everyone flooded over and they were like, oh my God, paleo. And I was like, oh God, I have to do a paleo profile. Oh God. And I threw up a profile and I mean, the channel just kind of became a thing. And we were like, oh my God, we have to like make content now and become really serious about it. And it was like, okay. And then Bryan, ironically, the next weekend got his invite and he actually got top 5. So he deserves far more credit than I did. I'm extremely grateful that I got my invite before Bryan and I can have the bragging rights. But we really just we started taking things very seriously and we were like, all right, we're not just going to make content for us anymore. We have to start making content for other people because we don't want all these people to show up and then disappoint them. We want to show that, hey, I got my invite and I have something to offer the community that we both do.
And I think it was it's kind of like to come full circle. It was almost like a testament too. Cause we started the channel with the intention of just us as a couple or just us as new players, just growing, learning the game and getting better, not only as people, but just, as players in general. And I think the fact that we then had that spotlight kind of thrown on us in just a couple months after that. It was a really, really cool and really fulfilling feeling to be like, wow, we've actually come this far. Yes. And so it was it's not like a torch is passed, but it was really, really, I honestly still to this day can't describe the feeling. It's such an honor to be able to do this. And it's really, really wholesome to just be able to grow, not only as the two of us, but now grow as a community and to take our journey bigger than just the two of us and bigger than just a platform of our, little living room or whatever. It really has become more than just the two of us. And I think that's something that we try to focus on a lot. And I don't want to say that is part of our success, but I do think that attributes to it. Like we are very active.
I 100% think that's a part of it, and I don't have any like shame in saying that, because in like the first 9 months of the channel, the first 9 months of playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I was able to secure an invite, which I definitely did not think I was going to do. Nonetheless, at a Toronto regional where there's like a ton of people, especially well-known players, like I won't go too deep into it, but I was extremely stressed that entire day. I still do not know how it happened. It's all a blur. But the fact that I was able to pick up Yu-Gi-Oh that January and by November to have gotten an invite, I still kind of pinched myself that day because I didn't think that would be able to happen. And I'm glad I got the recognition I did. I remember Sam ran up to me and was like, "Do you want to do a profile?" And I was like, "Not really." I was so tired, and it was like 10 p.m. They were rushing people out, and I was sweating. I was a wreck. I just wanted to
eat all day.
I just wanted to take a nap. And like, so I'm really grateful, and I'm glad that we took the game as seriously as we did, and we took the channel as seriously as we did, because it's really been like the biggest blessing. And I love every single member of our community. And we strive on having both competitive content and casual content, because we don't want to exclude anybody. Like, we have the very casual videos. I don't know. I guess we just don't want to take ourselves too seriously, but like, I think people tend to forget that we are competitive players. Yeah. And it's like, we have stacked a few invites under our belt at this point, and I'm very grateful we did. And like, I can't wait to go to events again someday. And like, we're participating in our first remote duel, like big tournament on Sunday. So that's going to be a doozy. But I don't know. I guess we're just really grateful that the channel's been able to get where it is.
And I think like just part of it too is, as we said, like we wanted to grow as players and we wanted to grow like as a channel. And I think that a lot of that is just, you can't forget where you came from. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I think the first video on the first video on the channel was this deck profile. And like still to this day, almost 2 years into playing the game, it's not competitive, but it's still my favorite deck of all time. And it still is like, it's kind of like one of those like fan favorite decks. And like, we just like to go back and revisit decks like that. Is it like something you can bring to a YCS and top with? Absolutely not. But like, it's still a fun deck, and it's still a deck that people enjoy. And I do think that like in the YouTube community, not all, but there are some people I do feel like kind of get caught up in like, oh my God, I have to get first place in every single tournament, or like I'm not valid. And like, winning is not any sort of like validation to who you are. Like, as long as you enjoy what you do, and as long as you are having fun doing what you're doing and love what you are doing, I think that that's kind of what people see, and that's what draws people in.
Yeah, I think that works for like any competitive community too. I don't know. I think focusing on a lot of Rogue too helps a lot of casual players, because it's easy to think like, oh, if I just play competitive, I'll be able to win and do really well. And our channel is kind of a testament to being like, you can play Rogue and still do well. And even if you don't do well, like, you're not a bad player, and it doesn't discredit anything that you've tried to do. And you can always just keep trying. And that's why we're here. We're basically we're moral support.
Yeah. Well, what I find about when you play Rogue decks, it's a completely different skill set when you play those kind of decks. So I find a lot of Rogue are a little bit slower. It's more control based, as opposed to playing like a lot of decks nowadays, which they're like fast tempo, built with this like giant board up on the board and see if you can break it. But you know, there are some different skills that you can learn playing control decks. So you got to learn how to be able to slow roll and grind. And that's a skill that I like to, kind of teach like newer players just to learn, because for example, there was like Yu-Gi-Oh! Day that happened about probably like a year and a half ago that I had, and we were playing with like the Codebreaker structure decks. Oof! But so many people would just like put all their cards on the board. They commit every single card to the foot. I'm like, really hard for that, and I just steamrolled everybody, because like I've been playing this game since 2003, so I know how to be able to grind and like play games that take more than 2 turns and whatnot. Maybe this game we don't really see that a whole lot nowadays. Maybe not for Logan, because she's playing Paleo Frog, so she gets there's a little bit of longevity in that one, which is a deck I love, by the way. But yeah, there's definitely like merits to playing like every different kind of deck, even Rogue, even like being the underdog, because you really have to learn how to like fight through those big boards in like completely different ways. So it's good that I like that you brought that up though with playing the Rogue decks, because there really is a certain skill set and on playing every single different kind of deck that there is out there.
Absolutely. And it's a lot. We actually just talked about this the other day. I can't remember if we were talking on stream or in Discord, but we love Rogue decks because if you like, especially with my Paleo deck, like I'm constantly adapting it. When you play Rogue, that's the challenge, is you have to constantly adapt it to the meta, because like odds are your deck's not getting hit really.
until they put Toga 1 out of nowhere.
Yeah, until they limit your toad for no reason. But like Rogue challenges you to constantly adapt, constantly change your skill set, and like become like just a more critical player, I feel like. Whereas instead with meta decks, you can just pick up whatever meta deck of the format and be like, oh, I'm playing the best deck of the format. Like I feel like Rogue is a whole different strategy, and we value it so much. Like
every move you make counts. Every single move that you decide to make counts.
Yeah.
Really does.
Yeah.
And the thing I also find about Rogue decks as well is that they typically have an advantage when you play against people who have no idea what you're doing. But when you play against those people that actually do have every single idea and know exactly what you're trying to do, then it just gets that much tougher. And then it becomes that much more satisfying to be able to get that win as a Rogue player if you're able to pull it out, especially when they know what to do.
Absolutely.
So like that's a big thing, and like again, it's a really important skill set to have, like playing the Rogue decks. And I played my fair share, like playing this game. I've almost topped events, and I've won locals like many times with playing like Rogue decks. I mean they're fun to play. It's really satisfying to win, but they're again the bottom line is that there's just a tremendous amount of merit and like good reasoning behind like playing these Rogue decks, because it really like develops your overall skill as a duelist when you decide to make that transition maybe to playing more like combo oriented decks.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason that we like to pick up a lot of these Rogue decks too, and like when I say Rogue, sometimes it means competitive and sometimes it's not. You know, as I said, like Layer of Darkness, I don't even know if that falls into the Rogue category, but like it's still good to learn every deck that you can. Like A, for the interaction, B, because like it's fun to learn new things, and like even if the deck isn't competitive, like I think Marincess, for instance, is one of the decks that I really enjoy playing. I would never bring it to an event. You know what I mean? Like it's not but like it's a fun deck to play. And I do think that like in the competitive scene, sometimes it's kind of like it gets lost that like this is a fun game. It's a game to enjoy with friends. And like as I said, I've never bring Marincess to like a YCS, but when we have people come over and we're just playing for like casual fun, I'll whip that deck out and play it all day long. And there's really like, I have learned sitting down across the table from people, I've learned different things about different interactions with certain cards and how they work and like what the different triggers are, just because I'm playing a different deck that I'm not used to or I'm not comfortable with. So pushing yourself outside of that boundary sometimes and playing a deck that you like isn't meta is beneficial for a lot of players, I would argue.
Yeah.
And what I also like about playing the Rogue decks as well is that when you're playing a deck that you're not familiar with, you're not going to make every single move to be perfect. And that's normal. That happens. But as you keep playing it, like you start to notice maybe not some weaknesses, but things that you can improve on, or like just certain new things that you can kind of adapt yourself to doing. And then eventually you start getting better and better. And not to mention, you're also learning the deck that you're playing with yourself. So there's also other merit playing like kind of a Rogue deck that you're, originally unfamiliar with, because you never know. You could go against that very same deck one day, and then you can kind of know the ins and outs and learn how, like, what are the weaknesses. And then, it just makes you a better duelist overall.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I really like for our channel, especially, like we try to cover as many decks as we can. Like we learn all of these decks. We have all of these decks physically. Every deck profile we do, we physically have, and we physically take the time to learn, and we revisit them as often as like the meta shifts or as often as people want us to, because it really it helps us when we see our viewer base ask, hey, can you guys update this deck or this deck? Whether it's like the most random Rogue deck, like I don't even know. People will ask for Marincess. People will ask for counter fairies. People will ask for anything. And it's rewarding to know that they value the time that we put into these Rogue decks, and that like we are not, I don't know, it's not in vain, I guess, and that we're constantly revisiting these decks just to let our viewer base know that you can improve these decks, that there is hope for them, and that even if you're just playing it casually, like we see those decks and they are valid, and it's fun for us to always be updating them too.
And I think for the player base also, it's like, I mean, and this is not knocking meta at all, but like once the meta is established, like right now it's like it's Infernoble, Dragon Link, Dinosaur, and like Virtual World. Yeah. Once those decks are kind of established, doing a deck profile on Dragon Link, like, what the difference is, two cards. Like everyone knows what the deck does. Everyone knows exactly what the engine is, what the play line is. So like I guess like after like a couple weeks, no one cares about Dragon Link. Like, is it a good deck? Yes. Like whether you main deck Droll or whether you main deck Gamma is really the only big thing depending on the format. So like I think paying attention to these other Rogue decks and spending time on them is something that a lot of people are interested in as well. Because like it's like, do I know what Dragon Link does? Of course I do. It sets up 3 negates, locks you out of your extra deck, and then like you can't play. But, you know what? I don't know what Melfi does. Not everyone's talking about Melfi. So, like, I feel like more people are inclined to click on that. And then, like, I think we just put one up 2 weeks ago of Melfi, and it's like I would argue that like that's a deck I would consider bringing to a YCS.
Melfi Tri-Brigade down.
Like with the Tri-Brigade engine, and then with the Alpha, and then like with the Dogmatica engine, like it's a really competitive deck, and no one sees it coming. You slap down a cute little level 2 dog, and they're like, oh, that's cute, I'm gonna win. And then you set up 5 negates, and they're like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, that's not Dragon Link, but it can still sit down and compete at the same table.
Yeah, and we've seen like professional players that kind of adapt that kind of style and bring it into like today's metagame and have like absolute success with it. Like Jeff Jones, for example, is one of those players that really does that so well. Probably one of the most innovative players in the game and creative players to play it and have success with it. So, you know, it's kind of like something that you guys are trying to do. It's like you're testing all these decks out to see what's best for you. And then not to mention that you guys are also newer players as well. So majority of these decks that have been like out for a long time, you guys never got to experience them before. As opposed to like a veteran like me, I played like over half the decks that you guys have featured on your channel. Like, so I kind of know most of the ins and outs, but like I haven't gone back to a lot of them because like I didn't really care about the evolution of them per se. But you guys are just exploring like the whole entire timeline of these from like when you guys started. So you guys are giving yourselves an advantage over myself because you're probably knowing a lot more about certain rogue decks that, you know, that were used to be meta and then like are not meta right now, but are still well known. You probably know them better than I do now at this point in time. Like, for example, like Paleo Frogs, and Marincess, I played them too. I played just for a fun little anecdote for you guys to make you happy. I played a VIP qualifier, like sorry, YCS VIP qualifier, and I topped 8 with Marincess. This is before when Blue Tang came out. So it was like the Seahorse was the first thing that came out.
Yeah.
That's it. I topped 8 for you.
I can't speak for you, but like I know for me personally, like as someone who like cares about Marincess, I'll never forget in Ohio, we were at a regional and we both already had our invites. I think I had a couple under my belt, and we weren't really trying hard. We were just like there to have fun and like meet people. And like I literally saw this guy that I played him I think round 3, and he played Marincess. And like I think the entire game, I was just like, dude, it's so cool that you brought this to like a regional and like winning, bro. Like you're like 3-0. This is so cool. And I honestly, he did like the water barrier lockout like 5 months ago before it was cool. And I was like, yo, this is really, really hot. And like at the end of the day, he came up to me and he's like, bro, I got my first invite ever playing Marincess, and I just wanted to come and tell you. He's like, because you were the only one that cared that I played this deck. I was like, yeah, dude.
I remember that.
It's so rewarding to see that. And like I just
that was way back in January. Oh my god, that feels like it was eons ago, but it was back in January. I do remember. He was so excited. That was so cool. It's so nice.
He walked by like pumping his hands, jumping in the air. He had his like paper that he signed in his hands. Really, I'm like, that's what it's all about.
It was
like,
really beautiful.
I mean, it's always interesting to see like that kind of like, you know, those kind of decks like make it to the top, or at least like, you know, get that close. That, you know, it's a sense of accomplishment because like for you, Logan, when you going back to that Toronto Regionals, I'm gonna bring this up again.
You're fine.
So, I mean, like you got your invite at that event. I have maybe about 80% of my locals, and I have there's about like roughly like 30-40 people, but maybe like only 20 go to the actual locals itself. Who I've seen like never get an invite before, and they've been playing this game for like years. Like I'm talking like easily like a decade or so, and I haven't seen them get any invites whatsoever. It took you not even 1 year to get that, and
I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been by surprise. Like that could be a factor. The fact that you know that the whole deck can just die if you put like one Dynamiscus out on like a Harpour that comes out to the board, then they can be screwed right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I remember that very same regional, there was a guy who topped 8 with running Striker Trains.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, it's like so like the innovation can work, and it can work. And Rogue could definitely win. Like all of us were caught by surprise when we saw like Striker Trains at that regional. I was dumbfounded myself. I'm like, how is this guy winning? Then I finally saw, I was like, oh, he's running the Striker engine on top of that, because that was one of the big engines way back then. I mean, I had a little bit of heartbreak at that regional myself, unfortunately. I got deck checked last round. I was X1.
Oh, I got deck checked last round too.
Did you? Oh my god. I didn't know they did 2 deck checks. Jeez.
I got deck checked. I was mad.
Okay, so the question I got to ask you is, if that's the case, did you open well after you got deck checked?
Oh my god, that's so funny. That's so funny. So I got deck checked. It was the last round 9. I was stressed as heck. Like I was at table 9. I was stressed beyond compare. And he deck checked us after game one. And
so you get the mid round. Okay.
First hand for game 2, and they're like, oh,
no. So game 1, I lost game 1. And I was like, all right, that's I was playing against Salad. I was not winning game 1. It was absolutely not happening. Rage Roar, okay, I don't play. And so game 2, we shuffled, we did everything, we drew our hands, we figured everything out. And then the guy came over, tapped our shoulders, and was like, oh, we're a deck check. And we're like, dude, we literally just started game 2. Like, are you serious? And like, they took our decks and we just sat there for like 8 minutes staring at each other. And like, everyone, it's like there's like a crowd around us because I'm sitting there and they're like, oh, it's the paleo girl. What's happening? And I'm like, we're getting deck checked. There's literally nothing happening. And then they came back like 8 minutes later, they gave us an extension, which we didn't need because I got absolutely bodied. So he brought our decks back, and then we reshuffled, redid everything, started game 2, and I opened like God tier, like on my hand. I won game 2, and I'm like, sick, amazing. And then game 3 was just obviously the Salad player went first. I saw nothing, and it just felt really bad.
Oh God. Okay. First of all, you can blame me because I had to play that. I beat that Salad player out in round 8, so that's why you had to play him in round 9. So there's that. So sorry. And then when I got deck checks, I drew my hand. I looked at it like, okay, it's a pretty good hand, and I got to go first. I was playing Striker or Cust. Like, this is a good hand. All right, I can make my opening play. We're looking good. And then we get deck checked. Like, oh, geez. All right. Like, because I'm a judge myself too, so I know the whole process. Like, okay, I gave it up. And when they give you your deck back, your monsters, your spells, or traps are all sorted out. Mm-hmm. So you got to like really heavily shuffle and shuffle right to get it going. So when I first like finally opened up, I looked at my hand like, oh, for God's sake! I bricked no Orcust in my hand, nothing to help me. I'm like, oh my God! And then so I lost game 1 easily, and then game 2, I went first again. Looked at my hand like, oh, you got to be kidding me! Not again. And I bricked again, no Orcust. So the whole entire match in an Orcust mirror match, I didn't draw a single Orcust, and I got bodied hard.
It feels really bad. I honestly like the deck check threw us both off, and I could tell because like we were starting game 2, and I was like, why are you deck checking us in the middle of our match? Like in the middle, like at least do it at the beginning, my dude. Like and like it. I mean, I was happy I won any of the games. I didn't get 2-0'd, which made my dignity a little better. But I mean, it was fine. I somehow still got like my invite with it, and like I did really well throughout the day. And like at that point, I was so exhausted, and I was like, you know what? I won at least one game from that kid. That's fine. I'm happy.
And I'm like, Matt's a really good player too. Like, we've actually come to know Matt after like
I love
throughout
his
playing.
parents. His parents are my favorite.
Yeah.
But like, and it was like, we're like, man, this kid's really good. And then the more that we like sat down and the more that we like went to events, we're like, yo, this kid is at the top 10 every single tournament. So like to lose to someone like that, we were like, oh, like that's fair.
And he's such a sweet kid, and his parents are wonderful. And I honestly like, I'm happy that I did play him because I got to meet his family. We got to like form a bond as we all traveled like to different regionals together. So you know what? It was all in good fun, and I'm super happy.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, wrong Salad player, because I know who you're talking about. I beat a different Salad player. So
that's okay. That's fine.
But I have met that kid before. I see him.
It's better then because it's not your fault, so it's fine.
It's not my fault, so not my fault anymore. But I've seen that kid before around. Great little kid, great competitive guy. He knows what he's doing.
He's very good.
He is so skilled. So it honestly it was an honor to lose to him.
and he's worked really hard at it. And he's kind of rubbed elbows with some like the big players in Toronto. So like he knows how to play a game. And his parents are so nice to me because I've judged events that he's played in when he was a little bit like a lot younger. So like we've had some conversations. Great kid. He knows what he's doing out there, and he's going to be like really good. Someday, if not already today.
Yes.
Big thing. Oh, and then that region. I remember when you said that crowd was gathering around you at round 9, because I remember I was at table 2 at the time, so I just looked to my right. I'm like, there's a big crowd over there. Oh, there's a girl at top tables. Nice. I don't even know what she's playing. And then then when I realized when I finally talked to you guys, like, oh my God, they were at Toronto Regionals. I didn't even know it. Oh my God. I just completely realized who you guys were at the time afterwards, because I saw Sam's video myself too. Oh, and then like when I finally researched you guys again and looked at it, like, oh, that's who they were. Got it. Right.
Yeah, it was, there was no intention that day. It was us and like 10 people from our locals. We all went up to Toronto for the day to try and do something. I honestly just went like to go with everybody. I wasn't going like paleo was a great meta call because like Thunder was super prevalent. It was very good in the format. Mm-hmm. And so we went up for the day just in the hopes of someone doing well out of all of us. And I certainly did not think it was going to be me. And like the day went on and like, I was like, wow, I'm doing pretty okay. Like I only lost rounds 3 and 4 and then I won out to round 9. And I'm like, I wasn't expecting all this. And it was, and like everyone else except for like 2 other players had dropped out for the day out of all like 11 of us. And I was like, wow, this was an unexpected turn that I was not ready for. And it was weird because I didn't notice it until round 9 that like there was any sort of attention on me. And that day was so absolutely wild. I don't know. It was really cool. It was really fun. Yeah. I was a nervous wreck all day though.
Yeah. I remember before every match, it was like the shaking and it was like,
yeah,
I don't know who I'm gonna play. I don't know what to do. And then at the end of every match, I won. It was like, oh, awesome. And meanwhile, I think like I got obliterated that tournament. I made the wrong deck choice, brought the wrong deck, and I think I won like 6 games total. And this feels bad. Like, I win. I'm like, all right, I guess we're sticking around.
And honestly, like my build wasn't even that good. Like I look back, like I tried to never watch that video on Sam's channel because like, I just like there's nothing wrong with it except like me. Like I was so tired and nervous. And I feel like when people watch these profiles for events, they don't really recognize the fact that like it's 10 p.m. None of us have eaten or slept or really had any moment to use our brains other than to look at Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And like, so they're very critical and I didn't want to like relive that all over again. And there were a couple times in the profile where like, I'm so nervous. I'm not like speaking properly. And I do misspeak on a couple of things. And like, I will never be able to unlive you can't trap trick crack. I know you can't trap trick crack down. I'm very aware of that for the love of God. I was talking about compulse. My brain wasn't working right. All right. I know how to play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, so I'll rewatch it to see what my build was. And I'm like, God, this was awful. I look at it. I'm like, I don't know how this did as well as it did that. I mean, thank God it did. But I was playing like 3 Morella. Like, oh my God, 2. Why wasn't I playing 3 Crackdown? Why was I only playing 2? What was I doing?
Yeah.
Like I look at the build and I'm like, I'm glad it worked for the day it did. But sometimes I'm like, good God. And I'm glad I update it as often as I do so that people can see that like, it wasn't just, oh, I'm a girl and I got lucky. Like, I update the build not just for myself, but for everyone else, just so they can see like, hey, I'm learning as I see different metas and different formats. And like, this is how I would adapt this deck so that it's not just the rogue deck you saw a year ago on Sam's channel. Like I want to still maintain like the glory of my little paleo deck and like show that I can grow as a player and still do something really cool with it and inspire other paleo players. So like keep up with the deck because it is worth it.
Well, first of all, like at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure I can speak for almost everybody. When you're at the end of a regionals, you kind of get a little bit hangry. You might get a little irrational, a little bit irritated. That's kind of normal because you don't really eat a whole lot during the day because there are no designated breaks because they can't afford it at the time. So that happens. Like, for example, every single time, like I go to a regional, like I have to eat like a giant meal at the end of the day.
Yes.
It has to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm sure you guys are the same.
And I was so like not scared, but like I knew after round 9, like I stood up from the table. I had my deck. I was like, okay, I just gotta leave because I was like, I didn't get my invite. I'm like, I'm X3. There's no way I'm gonna get it. I'm at table 9. I'm not gonna make the cut. It's fine. I'm like, let's just go home and be done with it. And then everyone was like, no, wait for standings. And I'm like, okay. And so then we wait around and I'm just like really uncomfortable because like I'm getting all this attention and then the standings get posted and I'm like, oh my God, I made it. I'm like, oh my God. And like Sam came on over all excited. He's like, oh, you got your invite. He's like, do you want to do a profile? And I was like, yeah, sure. And like, I know who Sam is. And like, I knew who he was at the time. And like, as a baby player who literally had been playing for like not even a year, I was terrified.
There's like, a lot of pressure.
I was like, I have to sit and talk about my deck and not shake and not stutter. And like, and in the video, I'm so red in the face. And like, I'm so like, there's just that that intimidation factor of like trying to do well for the person who's recording you and like giving them good content and like also sounding like, oh yes, I am the big old paleo player that knows exactly what I'm doing. Here's all my deep strategies. I set 5 and I pass. Like, so it was very nerve wracking. And I know that like everyone was very kind in their responses to me, minus, you know, the few people who, you know, being critical. But that's fine. I expected that. But honestly, like, I was so tired, and you can definitely tell my bun is like falling down my head in like the video. And like, it was fine. I'm glad I did it. And because if I didn't, the channel would not be where it is today. And I'm gotta be grateful for those, those embarrassing moments. You know,
no, I can completely understand that, because again, like, it's the end of the day. We all want to go home at that point. And I did my research. I know you came 42nd that day, and
did.
The cut was top 48. So I recall that very well.
After edited standings, I came 40th. So
with the dropouts, I still. Yeah, I think I still came. I think I was 16th at the end of that day because I lost my last round. Oh, I was so irritated just at myself, because I'm like, I'm not blaming anybody. Like, dang it, I wish I didn't break both those games. Yeah. Like, I wanted a game. I would feel better if I got
end of the day, right? Like that always happens. You can be opening up immaculate. You sit down for the final round and you open like 3 desires, 2 ash. Like,
I know. I beat myself up all the time. I'm like, if I had won any, like, just one of those rounds I lost, I would have been top 20. And I'm like, I kick myself. Like, and you can't do anything about it. Like, it's not your fault really at the end of the day. Because sometimes, you brick. Sometimes you just are against a better player. And that's just the way it works. And so, like, coming to that understanding and that little namaste in your brain, like, I just am like, I got my invite, I did it, and now I'll never be able to get my national play because we're not playing anything right now except remote stuff. So I can't wait for Nats to come back whenever that is, because I'm going and I'm doing really well. So help me God.
The part about that day too is like, I'll never forget, like, after every single round, it was, oh my God, I win! And then it was, I hope I don't play salad next round.
Yep, all day long. All day. I was like, if I don't play salad, I will do amazing. Thunder, I played 3 Thunder rounds. And it was awesome.
2
I Orchest, it was fine. The last round, I'm like, I'm gonna play salad. I can feel it in my bones.
She sat down and she goes, normal summon Gazelle. She just turned around and gave me the death stare. I was like,
I was so bummed, but like, honestly, it was a matter of time, so it's fine.
Yes. If only you could have Dino-Miscus that Gazelle first turn. If only you could have.
It's okay.
Oh my God. I like, so speaking of being like hangry and stuff, I give you a fun little anecdote real quickly. So I've made 3 different women hangry waiting for me at like at an event. I made my girlfriend hangry. I made my ex-girlfriend hangry when we were dating at the time, and I've made my plutonic best friend hangry.
You gotta start bringing snacks, my dude.
Oh my God. And the funny thing is, I kept making them wait because I kept winning. And that was the thing. It's like, I think my ex-girlfriend at the time, because she didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh at all, and she's like, and she goes to my best friend, it's like, how long is it gonna be? And my best friend like, when he loses next, he's out, and then we can go for dinner. He's like, oh, okay, that's fine. So like, she was rooting for me at the start. She's like, yay, yay. And then as the day progresses, like, lose already so we can get
like
and then I didn't lose. So all 3 times I made a woman hangry, I topped all the events. So it's like, I gotta make a woman hangry now to keep the streak going.
You know what? I believe that, because literally after I got my Toronto invite, the following weekend we went to the South Park Regional in Pennsylvania, and Bryan, like, I played that tournament with him, and it was the week after my whole invite, and so everyone was like, oh my God, and like I played and I went like X3 drop, and like it was just, I played Altergeist like my first round, and then like some danger spam, and I was like, all right, I'm done, I'm over it. But then Bryan like ended up doing phenomenal and got top 5 at that regional. And so I had to sit the whole day and basically watch him play and be like a cheerleader in the middle of like nowhere. And I'm like, all right, it's 9 p.m. I'm so proud of you. Let's take a picture of you with your mat and let's be done. But like, it's cool. I'm really happy we were both able to secure invites within a week of each other. And I think that's like kind of poetic and beautiful. And like, so I understand.
I was trying to say earlier too, like we're from upstate New York. Every time we say like, well, first off, I think everyone, because we did the video for Sam and it was in the Toronto regional.
Oh my God, everyone still thinks we're Canadian.
Everyone's like, oh, you're from Canada. No, we're from New York. They're like, oh, cool, New York City. Like now we're 6 hours away.
The other part of New York.
But like, I think so. That being said, like for the Toronto regional, we had to cross the border, which takes a little bit, and it was like a 5-hour drive or something like that. So we left at like 4 a.m, no breakfast, no coffee. You get there, you sign up. I think we had like Slim Jims and a couple almonds all day.
Oh God!
And like and I feel like that's how Yu-Gi-Oh events are. And it was the same, like as Logan said, for that following Saturday at the Pennsylvania regional. We got up at 3 a.m., packed our stuff, and we're on the road by, I think, 4:30. Yeah. We were there by 8, I believe. No breakfast, no coffee, just sat down. All right, Yu-Gi-Oh players, round 1. And that was it. And we literally, like, because I got top 5, we sat there all day, no food.
Oh, it was awful.
I literally think I went to my last round. I was like, okay. I told my opponent, I'm like, if I pass out, it's because I haven't eaten all day. I was like, you can have the win, bro. And I 2-0'd him. So I was like, all right.
Yu-Gi-Oh is pure adrenaline at the end of the day.
It really is. It's so mentally taxing because you're going on for like 12 hours a day just playing Yu-Gi-Oh and you get like very little breaks. So that's why now I try to like at least like pack a snack or something like that so that I can yeah. And I know like where you guys are roughly in upstate New York, because like I know like the closest place that you can guys go to a regional is probably Syracuse, which I think is about an hour and a half away from where you guys are living.
Our OTS actually has regionals here, and
they have them once a year.
Yep,
not once a year.
Nice.
We're in the Rochester area, so our OTS actually does hold a regional, which it's not gigantic, but like it's something. So we're glad for those, but we usually go to the Catskill regionals because those are a lot bigger.
Yeah, like 4 hours away.
It's like 4 hours in the Adirondacks.
Our locals every March, maybe every early March.
Yeah, but I mean, we're lucky that New York has a couple of really good locations for regionals.
Yeah, because I have a lot of friends in Syracuse as well, and I have family there, so I often visit them. And I've actually been to a Rochester regional. This actually happened about like 6-7 years ago now that I went to my one and only U.S. regional in Rochester. But I know like there's Rochester, there's Syracuse, there's Catskill, because I'm with like the Syracuse guys a bunch, and they tell me like all the regionals they go to, and I try to go with them when I can, but it's very few that I go in them. So I know that you've got like a decent area around it, and you're not too far off the Canadian border either. So you guys,
an hour away.
Yeah, so I know you guys can hit Toronto, and then obviously you've been to like the YCS in Niagara Falls as well, because that's not too far off you guys either.
No, that's like an hour away.
Yeah, hour and a half tops.
Yeah, so you guys like geographically for like a small place, like you guys have a lot.
Yeah, we are really fortunate. Like Pennsylvania is a couple hours away.
Jersey's right there.
Yeah, Jersey's like 3-4 hours away. Ohio, Logan's got family there, so like we have places to stay out there. That's like 6, maybe 8, depending on where in Ohio. So like we are very, very fortunate to be able to travel to those surrounding states that aren't like 5-day drives.
Back when we could travel.
Yeah, exactly that. Because where I'm living, I have the luxury of only being have to travel about no more than 90 minutes just to get to Toronto.
Yeah.
It's not that far from me. And if I want to go to, say, like Ottawa, for example, like our capital city, which is it's roughly about 3.5 hour drive for where I am. So that's not too bad for a regional either.
No.
So it's pretty solid. If you can get like to a regional in under 4 hours, that's not too bad.
No, that is worth it.
Yeah, it definitely is. So I can understand why you guys make the trip when you come up to Toronto and play one.
And once it start back up in like whatever that is, we've already like oathed ourselves that we're going to drive, fly anywhere.
We gotta do.
We are going everywhere. So like whenever the world gets its stuff together, like we're gonna be so excited because like the channel didn't kickstart until everything went kaput, and that's fine. We're grateful that the channel is still doing as well as it is, but once things start back up, like we're committed. Like we're going out, and we're doing it.
Yeah. Like, we do focus on a lot of Rogue, but, like, that doesn't say that we don't have meta decks. Like, we are very ready to sit down and
coming in. Like,
we are very ready.
Now, I noticed in your videos that you guys also, like, play each other here and there. Like, I think your most recent video was Zombies versus Paleo. That you guys, So, like, my girlfriend actually used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Myself. She kind of stopped playing now. She's done with the game. But we never played each other at all when we were home. We would only play each other for fun, maybe at locals or whatnot. So how is it with you guys when you're home? Do you guys play each other often, like in your odd time?
We used to a lot. Like when the channel first started, so the series you saw was Next Deck Duels, which we actually just rebooted for, like, that was the first episode. When we first started the channel, that was like one of the first series that we did on the channel, where we basically did live duels against each other. But we very quickly realized a couple episodes in that we were so new to the game still that, like, we were misplaying left and right. Like we did them as like just fun live duels, but then people didn't quite like enjoy the fact that we're misplaying every 5 seconds.
Yeah, the concept of Next Deck Duels was that, like, we would put a list up at the end of the video and allow, you know, our viewer base to choose what decks we would play. And, you know, it was a learning, it was intended to be a learning experience for us and for our viewers, because it's like, well, we just built, I think one of the decks was like Thunder Dragons that we weren't really like super committed to, because we, once again, we hadn't even played for like
the channel
8-9 months.
Was barely a thing.
So we just picked up the deck, we just learned it, and like, not that we were like misplaying left and right, but it was like, oh, you technically can't do that because it's not a chainable effect. And I was like, oh, okay.
It was those intricate little details that we weren't aware of as players, and so we shelved the series for like an unknown amount of time until we felt comfortable playing different decks comfortably. And so we just rebooted it literally last week, and we asked everyone what they wanted us to play, and naturally they said Paleo and Zombies. And so we've rebooted it in the hopes that it'll be better this time around. But yeah, we just wanted to have like better content for everyone, so it's back, but hopefully it stays back.
The thing too is people got to remember that you guys are kind of like newer players too, so there's bound to be like a misplay here and there. You're still trying to like work your kinks out.
And I think this is something that like the community is like, and like it's not everybody. Nothing is ever everybody, but like it's okay to make mistakes. No, like everyone is so very critical when like any content creator or any player makes a mistake. It's like we're all very quick to call people out for it, and like that's fine. Like you can address a mistake, but like just know that everyone's gonna screw up at some point. Like we're not perfect. We film these duels for hours. Like content creators film for hours. You guys just see the stuff that makes it. So like it's not always going to like, we want to have a live duel, but we're also not going to put 1,000 cuts in it so that you don't think it's a live duel. We are going to film the duels until we get good content for you. So if there's a misplay in there, that's fine. That's reality. There will be misplays.
And I think that's like, once again, it's with the intention that this is all part of the learning process. We never go like, okay,
I'm the best player.
We're the two best players in the entire world. Like, no, it's two decks that we are either comfortable with, are still learning, or are very comfortable with. Like the spectrum is very, very wide, and we do it for, as Logan said, like it's for the sake of like providing decent content, and like people asked for the series back, and people asked for these decks, which is the entire intention. So it's something that we want to do. It's something that like it's one of our ways of like giving back and interacting with our community, because as we said before, like that's something we're really, really big on. We're really big on the people that are a part of our community. We're very active in the comment section. We try to respond to almost every single person.
I basically live in our Discord and our Instagram. Like I love our community very much, and like I get its praises. I've seen some scary areas of certain communities, and that's fine. Like every community has like its areas, but like I think our community is very special, and I love them, and I try to nurture them like as like my own. And I feel like the more active and present you are as the creator, like it really does motivate those in your community. And if you actually take the time to build intentional relationships, it really does show
for sure
in the quality of not only your content, but of the people watching it. But going back to, do we play each other in our free time? Not really anymore, but we do when we're testing. We do.
Life is very busy.
Yeah.
Life is very, very busy.
Yeah,
like
so
we're both in school full time. We both do, like, I know that a lot of quote unquote Yugi tubers do this for a living. Like we're the first people to tell you that we do not. We have jobs outside of this. Like we do not pay our rent with this. Is it something we aspire to do someday?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. But like we are very, practical people, and we know that, with the systems that are in place, whether it's, Patreon, AdSense, whatever, we cannot sustain our living this way. So we have jobs outside of this. We are going to school to try to, kind of push ourselves a little bit better, and, just like working on, like just relationships and friendships and family and just everything else outside of Yu-Gi-Oh! That, a lot of people, I do think that, there's that translation of, I watch you on YouTube, and that's all you are. Is you are a YouTuber, and it's like once the camera's off, we're people. You know, like we're people with lives and friends and families.
We try not to really focus too much on Yu-Gi-Oh when the cameras are off because we try to like maintain our personalities as like individual people.
Yes.
But we do sometimes play together, but at the same time, like
we were up till 3 a.m. last night testing.
We were testing. It's very circumstantial, but like as Bryan said, like we're both working full time. I'm graduate next week, but I'll be getting my master's next week. Yeah. So it's like things that people don't necessarily know, and it's not their fault. But like, we don't focus too much on Yu-Gi-Oh. We do open packs and stuff for fun off camera, and of course we pull like the best cards off camera. But
that's the worst.
But yeah, I think we really just try to like enjoy our own hobbies and like individual things off camera.
Yeah, because again, like it's much like everybody else. Like we all have our own hobbies that are separate from Yu-Gi-Oh and whatnot. We all have our own like little hobbies and like little vices, and that's normal. That's what everyone does. Yeah. And I've met so many Yu-Gi-Oh players that outside of this game, and even hung out with a lot of them that like quit the game or are not part of the game anymore. Yeah. And like again, what we all have to remember is that we're all people at the end of the day. We all have our own interests. Yeah. So like that's like just one thing we have to remember. It's like seeing like actresses and actors on movies. Yeah, they're like that, but you know, like when the cameras are off, like they're their own person.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's the same thing too. Because I'm sure you guys also have like your own social lives. You guys have your own other hobbies, all other things that you do with that's aside from Yu-Gi-Oh. And that's the same with me myself. And of course, I have a girlfriend too. Like I have to like do stuff with her that's outside of the Yu-Gi-Oh whatnot. So that's just normal. That's just what happens.
And I do think like outside of, like kind of piggybacking on the question, but, just being honest as well, with everything going on in the world right now and no events to sit down and prepare for, there's like, I'm not saying there's no reason to play, but there's no reason to sit down and be like, oh my God, what deck am I going to take to the next YCS to make sure I get top 10? Like there's no real reason. Like, yes, there's the online tournaments and those are cool and stuff, but like working in healthcare myself, I work weekends, so all of those events we can't really even partake in. And like when I'm working and like that's Logan's time to like sit down and really focus on and crank out homework and stuff. So we kind of do choose to opt out of things like that. But I do think that like once events do come in and once we have the ability to travel and play events and actually take the game a little bit more seriously, because in the eyes of Konami, that's when it will be taken seriously. And like I think that's when we will start sitting down and testing more. We do have the remote dual invitational
this week, which we are excited for. We're a little out of
nervous.
Practice.
Yeah.
But
I just want that needle fiber mat.
Yeah, I really just want the needle
real
fiber
bad.
Mat.
That's so pretty.
We're giving it a try. It'll be fun, but yeah, I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh's cool, but at the end of the day, I just want to like sit and watch Hallmark Christmas movies and just like.
Logan's a Christmas fanatic.
Yeah, exactly that. But like when I'm on Sundays and I have nothing to do, I'm just sitting back and I'm just watching football all day. That's all that I'm doing on Sunday.
Who's your team?
Go Pack, go!
Yeah, I saw you were a Packers fan. Don't worry, you don't have to hate me. I'm a Broncos fan, so we're opposite conferences. We don't have to hate each other. You're gonna hurt me. Uh-oh.
I'm just kidding.
Are you thinking about the Super Bowl that happened back in the 90s? Don't.
No. We don't talk about those.
We don't, because I've only been a Broncos fan as far as Peyton Manning went on the team. Because I'm a Peyton Manning guy. That's all. That's why. That's the only reason.
That's valid.
Yeah. So I'm more Peyton Manning. So whatever team he goes on, that's my team. And I just pray to God he just never went on New England. That's all I hope.
Feel that.
Yeah. Just for my fantasy's sake, just keep telling Aaron Jones to keep getting touchdowns for me. Just do that.
Will do.
Got it. You got it.
Please.
Got his direct line. We'll just contact him tonight for you.
Oh yeah, please do. Please do. And I know, Logan, you're from Indiana, so and I know you went to Purdue, so I mean, I don't know if you have any ties to football or not.
Ironically enough, so I'm actually from New York. I'm from the Rochester area. I just went to school out in Indiana. And I very unintentionally became a Chicago Blackhawks fan for hockey. They're very passionate out there. I know. Ironically, it wasn't really so much of a Colts thing from Indiana, but like we were about like Purdue's about an hour and a half from Chicago, and we were out there probably all the time with my friends and. We were all hockey buffs. Like I love hockey. I love football, but like I was more interested in hockey because I just didn't care about the Colts. But the Blackhawks were lit the years I was in college. And so like being able to like be a part of the fan base and everything for that was really fun. And like, I mean, it was college, so, shenanigans, but definitely a hockey girl at the end of it all. But then I started dating Bryan, and he's a Packers fan. And I actually was a Packers fan, believe it or not, before I met him.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I know. It was just again, Purdue, it's kind of sort of near Wisconsin. So like I had a couple friends who were Packers fans in college, and I was like, oh, I like green, I like yellow, I like cheese. I'm like, Aaron Rodgers is kind of cute. But like I moved back home, and like I met Bryan a year later, and he was a Packers fan. I'm like, beautiful, amazing. We both have Packers t-shirts. It was meant to be. Like, all right,
this works. You gotta love it when you have like your partner is like a mutual like football fan.
Yeah,
or, like,
not even that, but like
fan.
the fact that we're both mutual Yu-Gi-Oh. We were both into Yu-Gi-Oh, and like we get that question honestly probably more than any question ever on the channel. It's always, how do I get my girlfriend or my spouse or my partner into Yu-Gi-Oh? How do I do it? You guys do it. And I'm like, honest to God, I don't have a magical answer. Like we both are just super nerdy. We both loved Yu-Gi-Oh. Like
believe it or not, Logan's the weeb of them.
I am the big old weeby weeberson between the two of us. Like I am deep into it. I was always the anime lover between the two of us and everything, and I actually got him into everything that he's into. So you're welcome. But there's no way you can make anyone be into anything. They have to want to do it. And we were just both fortunate enough that we both loved it and we both got into it. So here we are. That's just how it works.
Yeah, and that's how it was with my girlfriend and me, because like I met her through when I was working at the card shop, and she came in with other time her ex-boyfriend. So like I'm not gonna do anything with that. Like I don't ever hit on any woman at all when I'm at a Yu-Gi-Oh event, because I've never met a single woman ever. So I'm like, okay, nope, I'm not hitting on anybody. Plus, I'm like, I'm not going to distract myself with this either. I'm here to play to win, so I'm not going to do any of that.
Absolutely, you gotta keep your competitive edge, man.
Exactly. I mean, like befriending is cool. Like I don't mind doing that, but like that's not like the focus. Funny enough, that Toronto regional that we've been talking about this whole entire time. My first opponent was a woman. She was playing Salomon Greats, and then the next Toronto regional we saw each other afterwards. We made like a really big trade with each other, and like I got to know her group, and her group got to know my group. So it was just a nice little bonding moment that we had. It's just stuff like that's just so fun.
Yeah, I honestly like Yu-Gi-Oh events. Like playing Yu-Gi-Oh is really cool and everything, but like I love going to events and just meeting people and like the mutual bonding over how exhausted we all are, and like like trying to meet people and like trying to make, like I played at the Toronto regional. I played this one Dino player, and he was so unbelievably sweet, and like I love how you can be like kicking someone's butt, or they can be kicking your butt, but like you can still like be having conversation and be like, yo, this card sucks. Like, oh, okay, you're gonna negate it. Oh, all right, that's awesome. Like, thanks. And like I don't know, like it's just like it's that weird mutual like respect and like love for the game where like you can just bond over like card sucking. And I don't know, it's so good. I love Yu-Gi-Oh, but I think the events and meeting the people there is so much more valuable.
Yeah, it really is. It's the people like we're people pleasers, and we're people like I'm Italian, and I think that like that may show in a lot of videos. Like I don't shut up. I never stop talking. I'm very I'm very like ambitious. I feel like I will go out of my comfort zone with absolute ease. It doesn't, and so like just meeting new people and talking to people, like I'm the guy in the room who will go up to you and ask you what's going on. Like, hey, dude, what's going on? Cool shirt. Yeah. How you doing? What'd you eat for lunch? Any cool pizza places around here?
Yeah. Man, Yu-Gi-Oh is so fun. Like after I got my invite, we started going to a couple of other events while we could in that very brief little time period. Like we would after I got my invite and we started like becoming more of a channel, like we went to the Columbus, Ohio regional, and there were people there who were like, hey, can I like have your autograph or take your picture? And I was like, wow, these are I never thought would be asked of me in my life, but okay. Yeah. And like
we only had 6,000 subscribers at that point.
It wasn't even that. It was like it was very fresh. It was very new. It was very like jarring in a good way, but like in the sense that like seeing people get so happy to see you, and like it motivates like me to do better and to like be not only like a better player, but be like a better version of myself, and like be like, oh my God, that's so cool that like you like think I'm anything better than just the paleo player. But like it's so cool to see people come together and be excited about things, and like I want nothing more than to have people feel that excited all the time, and to like egg them on and be like, yes, play that deck, like do that thing. They'll be like, oh, what do you think about this? And I'll be like, here's my advice, do it, keep doing it. Like I don't know. It's just having that ability to have those connections with people is just really amazing. And like,
Yeah.
there's no feeling to describe it, but like, I adore people. Like,
yeah, and I think we really try to focus on that. Like, you know, we do stress it in the beginning of every video, and like I know sometimes it can be a little tedious, but we do want people to hear it. We do want people to know it, and like that it's a real thing. Like we have an Instagram where you can message us and ask us, what do you think about this deck? What do you think about these choices in this deck list? Like we are here for the actual community.
Yeah,
like we have like a Discord where we have multiple channels on like deck ideas or like deck lists.
Or just talking. I listen to Discord, and like the Discord, we talk about food, we talk about literally our homework, like we do everything. And like I don't ever want it to be like this weird impersonal relationship where we're just these overseeing content creators, like, oh, and like I always want to be there to be like an ear for people. And like at the end of every video, we always say, like, I always say you matter. And I've been saying that since like one of our first videos, like ever since I started appearing in videos, I've always said you matter at the end of them. And like, that's it's not like, oh, you matter because you're subscribed to the channel and you're like, you know, you're one of us. But like, I mean that in the sense that like you being here, you commenting, you having a voice on this channel, like you as a person, like you matter. Like, cause I know it's very hard on the internet to feel like you are seen and you are heard and stuff like that. And as someone, like, I really advocate for like mental health and stuff like that. And so I really stress the fact that like, if you ever need to talk or anything, like I'm always here. Brian's always here. We are always here. And like, we are a very lighthearted channel, not because we're just like goofy and not serious, but because we want to be a place where people feel safe and they feel welcome and they feel like they can be a part of something. So
like Yu-Gi-Oh, I think that's something that like we really try to focus on too. Is like Yu-Gi-Oh is a game, and yes, it's a competition, but when you sit down, before that person is your opponent across the table from you, they're another human being and they're another person, and they have a life outside of, you know, the 40 or 55, 60 card deck that they're playing. And like, that's something that I think we really try to focus on, is that like after the game, what's going on? Like, how's life? Like, you know, just like, we like to see people smile. We like to see people happy. And like, that's why, you know, once again, when it came to the alpacas, it wasn't our choice. People were like, yo, that's really cool. We like that. We want to see more of it. So we're like, yo, if it makes other people happy, we'll do it. And like, we're just here to have fun.
And if we have a platform that can help advocate for things like that, and where I can be a voice for like those who need it, or like where we can be advocates in general, like I think that's a really important thing to value, and not just be like, oh, I'm here to make content for my channel. It's like, no, you guys are as much a part of a channel as we are. So like, I always say you matter.
Yeah, because the social aspect of this game, I think I can speak for everybody when I say that like everyone has used this game to like be a good social platform for themselves, because I'm sure that everybody has made like a lifelong friend through this game. Like, for instance, like I met my girlfriend through Yu-Gi-Oh. I wouldn't have never met her if I didn't play the game. My best friend, we met through Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm sure that if and when I get married, he's going to be my best man 100%, like no doubt in my mind. And my closest friends were like my teammates. They don't play anymore, but still, like I talk to them really often. I talk to my best friend almost every day, even though we don't live in the same city and whatnot. But I'm sure that we've all made like some sort of like lifelong, like lasting relationship with somebody through this game. And that's one of the big things that, you know, keep us going with the game. Because like I don't play this game a whole lot. Like it's like I don't play like the video games a whole lot, like with or like on Dueling Book, whatever. I go because I love interacting with people, because I'm a very sociable person. That's like, sorry, social person, not sociable, but I am that too, I'd like to say. But you know, I like to be with people, I like to be around people. That's why I love playing like in real life so much. I'm not the biggest fan of remote duels, but I love playing in real life, and that's just one of the things I love. And I have so many people that tell me like, I don't really care for this game so much. I care about the people that are in it as well. I like to be around the people that are rather than the game.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And I feel like the game, like, yeah, I don't really know what else to say to that. Like, then, like, I agree with you. And, like, I think the game is really cool at the end of the day. And, like, I'm glad we can all bond through the game. But, like, I don't know, meeting people and, like, having, like, that, I don't know, just, like, having a good time over a nerdy card game that is kind of made for children. I don't really think it's made for children at this point. But, like, I think that's something really cool and special. And, like, I don't know, people sleep on it. But I think making friends, the power of friendship is the real answer. It all comes down to duel monsters. It is friendship. It is the friendship at the end of the day that will help you win the duel, Yugi.
Yeah, because exactly that. Like when we're out here playing Yu-Gi-Oh, like we're all doing what we love to do is play Yu-Gi-Oh, which is the card game. And you know, we get the opportunity to be able to play something we love with other people, and then meet new people on top of that. Because like again, at the end of the day, like we're people in the end, but we meet so many people from this game, and I've made so many friends with it. And again, like even people who've quit the game, I still talk to them on a daily basis. That's normal because I enjoy them as a person, because that's who we are. Yes. That's what it is, and that's the fantastic. That's the fantastic thing about this game, which is why I can't stop like being a part of this game.
Yes.
Like I always want to be a part of it.
Yes, I'm always very surprised every day. Like I'll like even when like days are hard and like stuff like that, I can go into like my Discord or I can go into like our Instagram and like I can see all the people that we've built relationships with and all of our subscribers and everything, and like I can find a reason to smile because like we all lift each other up at the end of the day in there, and I think it's so cool. Like it's so different. Like even though it is a Yu-Gi-Oh community, like we all just want to like have fun and be happy, and like it's so corny, but like friendship is so cool.
So is it safe to say that like throughout your entire journey of like, you know, developing yourselves in this game, that like the community has been like very open and like pretty welcoming for like newer players like you two to be into it?
Yes, I was honestly very surprised at how welcoming everyone was. Honestly, like I was not to like downplay like the community at first, but it's always intimidating when you're not sure and you've just entered a community of how people can be, and like you never want to assume that everyone's going to be like taking you in with open arms. But we were,
especially when there's like certain comments on like videos and like, whoa, you would never say that to a real human being in life.
It's intimidating to see what people say on the internet, and naturally it can be a little like off-putting, and you're like, do I really want to like start doing this? Like, will people actually be okay with it? Especially like once we started incorporating the alpacas, like we were like, man, are people gonna it's frightening. Like even today I was like, man, sometimes I'm like, do we keep the alpacas? And I get like these moments of like nervousness of like, do people like want to keep them around? And I'm like, of course they do. I'm like, if we got rid of the alpacas, people would lose their minds. Like, like what would they do? Like it's those little moments of doubt within me that I shut away, because like at the end of the day, we have over 21,000 subscribers, and like those people are here because they like what we're doing, and we got that far in 1 year. Like I'll be darned if we don't try even harder with more alpacas in the next year. Like, I'm never going to put the alpacas away, because those were sent to us by subscribers. And if they're sending us alpacas, we're doing something right. Like, so
really. And it's like, and it's one of those things too. Last night while we were testing and like we were building certain decks, like just getting ready for the remote stuff for over the weekend, we decided to go through we have a fam mail. It's we don't really like the word fan.
Yeah, I don't like the word fan.
Neither do I.
In the beginning, I said, I'm like, we're not calling it fan mail or fan anything. They're subscribers. Or the sub squad, like it's fam mail, because
it's the alpaca army.
There's
just like there's a ton
I like that one.
I don't like the word fan, because it just sounds A, pretentious, and B, it's very entitled, and like I don't know, it's just an individual thing. I don't care if anyone else does it. Like you do you, but like I personally want it to be more personal than that, and like half the time I don't even call it fan mail. I'm just saying we checked the PO box today and y'all sent us stuff. Cool.
Yeah. We keep every single note that's ever been sent to us. We have a ton of cards that have been sent to us, and like we cherish all of it, you know, and like all the notes too. And like even if it's not the notes at the PO box, it's like, you know, like the little messages to our personal Facebooks or our Instagram that it's like, hey, just want to let you know, I really love what you're doing. I think it's really great. I found your generator profile. It really made my day. And it's like, man, that's a deck I haven't thought about in 3-4 months. But like that's so cool that has such a reach for people to reach out to you and be like, hey, I just want to let you know that the one thing that you did 4 months ago made me smile today. And like I think for us, that's really what it's all about. It's about that impact. Yeah. And like as I was saying, we went through the fam mail little like folder that we have on our wall in every video that we're on the couch, if you get to see it. But we went through it and we just like read some of the notes last night as we were just testing, and it's so wholesome.
Like it's not even that it's wholesome. It's just like I don't know. I'm a girl, so I'm gonna get really sappy about it. But like I was sitting there reading them, and I was like getting all like sappy and bubbly about it. But like I don't know. Like I never in my life thought we would be opening a PO box and like being like, yeah, people are just gonna send us stuff, haha. And like we are overwhelmed most of the time.
We have to check it every other day.
Like there are things that we have got sent to us that are like, hey, put this under the Christmas tree and open it on Christmas. It's for you guys. And I'm like, oh my God. And like it's so awesome to like have like this mutual, and like A, we're supporting the postal service, which is awesome, and like B, like I love that we have become like a family. And I actually pitched like last night in our Discord and our Instagram, I'm like, I want to do Christmas cards, like I want to send out Christmas cards to subscribers who want them, and like do something like that, just like to like connect everyone and be like, hey, if you want a Christmas card, I'll mail you a Christmas card of us and all the alpacas. Why not? And like, just do something fun. And like, I like to encourage people to write us letters and stuff like that, because like, I want them to know we read them and that we keep them in a special place. And we're going to eventually do something with them instead of keeping them in like the little mailbox, because I just don't know what we're going to do with them yet. We need a very large, like, wall. I don't even know. Yeah, like a wall. But it's so cool, and like it still feels unreal sometimes, and with the channel still growing,
and especially being like just a year old as a channel, like as you said, still like it's one of those things where for us it's become a part of life, right? Like you wake up, you make your coffee, you do a little bit of homework or whatever, or you make breakfast, and then it's like, all right, cool, what are we gonna film for the day? We go out, we do our thing, we edit the video,
send out TCG player orders.
Well, like it never, like, we do stop sometimes, you know, like I try to make a cognizant effort at least once a week to be like, man, it's been 1 year and we have 20,000+ people that think we are worth subscribing to. Like that is like, when you step back from that is really
that's like a small stadium.
That's a mind-blowing thought. And it's just like, we are so overwhelmingly grateful for that.
So we're always trying to do more and be better for like not just us, but for the subscribers too, because we always want to be pushing ourselves to do new content and everything. And like we always do really try our best, and I don't know, like we just want to be something that people are proud of, not even for us, but just for everyone else.
Yeah, I was really astonished when I stumbled upon your channel the first time, because like I hadn't heard of you for like maybe about half a year or something like that, and I'm wondering how far do these, like I looked back at your channel, like how far back do these guys go? I'm like, oh my god, they've only been like a year old. I'm like, oh my god, no wonder why I haven't really heard of these guys up until like a half a year ago, because of, and like I can't believe they have so much success right. Like this is really impressive. Like I was like awestruck on like how many subs you guys had. I'm like, wow, this is like really impressive. So like, and then like eventually I started checking out your channel. I'm like, oh my god, those packers are so cute. I'm like, oh, those are so fun. And then I looked more into it. I'm like, okay, so that's what these guys are all about. Like they're new, they're getting into the game, and it's like, and you kind of have that luxury of like being a newer player, is that like everything to you is new.
Yes.
It's like it, you know, and like as I mentioned before, like I played through like majority of the decks that you guys already played, but this is all new to you, so it's all refreshing. It's kind of like a fresh breath of air, like a new perspective on everything. So I can understand why, like, you guys being new to the game, like that every single deck you play, it's like, oh wow, there's this and this, where like I come back and it's like, oh, this is how this plays. I know this is not my style. Like you kind of get a little more dismissive. Not so much for you guys, because again, like you didn't get to experience like 17, 18 years of Yu-Gi-Oh! This game. You're getting it now. So it's kind of nice to have this like fresh perspective on the game, because like because you're open. You guys are open. You're going to look at everything, and then you know you get a bigger perspective and see everything. It's really enlightening. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, right?
And I think we try to. I'm glad that you said that, in all honesty, because like it is a little rewarding just to hear that, because we do try to approach like most videos for like, you know, like I think one of the things that we, you know, as we said before, the intention was to not only grow as players, but to grow as, you know, competitive players, and to just grow the community and grow as a community. So we do try to approach every single video, like whether you're a subscriber or whether you're new to the channel or whether you're new to the game. If this is the first time you're ever watching a Yu-Gi-Oh video, or if it's the first time you're ever watching us, or if it's the first time you're ever watching, you know, whatever deck we're doing, we just want it to be very comprehensive. You know, like as new players, something that I do think that I found a little frustrating was like, all right, cool, I'm playing 3 Layer of Darkness, I'm playing 3 Lil, I'm playing 3 Rima, 2 Diablos, and we're moving on to the traps. I'm like, well, wait.
What did I do?
Why are you playing 3-3-3-2? Like, why 2 of this one and not that one? So like, I do understand that like it is, you know, and we get comments sometimes where it's like,
oh my god, like why are you explaining every card?
25-minute deck profile, but like we try to focus on like, not only what the card does, but why the card is important, the interactions it has in the deck and in the meta, and then like what it can do. And then we always try to focus on like a test hand at the end. Like there's so many content creators out there that are like, oh, if you open this 5-card combo, you can do this. Or like if you open this 3-card combo, you can do this. But we like to showcase, like we like to describe what the cards do in the interaction and then just genuinely showcase what the deck can do with 5 random cards.
Yes. Like, I don't care if our videos are 10 minutes long. Like, I don't want to put out a 10-minute video where I'm not explaining any of the things that I'm doing. So, like, every video we put out, we do it as if it's the first time someone is coming to the channel. Because I'm not going to short end of the stick anyone. Because, like, maybe, oh, the Marinsa's profile, we do go in depth. But for generators, we don't. Well, that's not fair to the people playing generators. Because they're going to want to know how to play the deck for the first time. And they're just going to go find someone who does do that. So, like, we are going to explain every single deck we play. Because there's always going to be somebody who wants to know why those cards are being played at those ratios, how they interact, and frankly, that's fine. Like, I would rather have everyone be able to learn every deck as thoroughly as the last one than to put out a 10-minute video because it's 10 minutes and more people will click it. Like, I don't care. Like,
we want you to be able to walk away from the video understanding exactly what the deck does and why it does what it does and how it does what it does. And like, yes, that sometimes does require a little bit more of a time commitment, but as new players, we found for us that those style videos were so beneficial.
Yes.
And that's kind of like a cardinal rule for journalism. And Logan, for you, since you're a master's student, like, and like as you're writing your master's, it's kind of like what you would do when you're writing your like a thesis defense. Like you've got to explain everything down to a T. You can't assume it. Everyone who's reading it is like, okay, what does this mean? You got to explain every single thing. That's why you see theses are like so long because you can't just you can't assume anything. And that's how I am when I'm a journalist. The cardinal rule is that you have to assume that you're writing for somebody who has no idea what is being talked about, which is and that's I think was like really good from you guys that you're giving these comprehensive videos, especially for those who are like beginners or even those who are just like unfamiliar with the deck. Like I barely know anything about what Melfies do or like Tri Brigade. So like when I clicked on that video, it was like you guys like explained it down to the I'm like, all right, okay, I see what's going on now. Like I got time to like read the card. I might like pause it, like read the effect on my phone and then come back to it afterwards. But that's what it is. It's all comprehensive. And again, like being a master student, I'm also a philosophy major as well. So I have to explain every single thing on all my essays on what does this mean and everything, because you can't just like read it and expect to know everything. And that's kind of the same way with you're doing it with your deck list, which I think is really good because I've seen so many deck lists that are like, yeah, there's this and this. I'm not going to explain it because everybody knows. Well, there are some people who actually don't know.
No. I think too, like as Logan's in for education and I'm in school for healthcare and stuff like that. I think
the teacher in me wants to explain everything. I'm in for my master's in education and I am finishing up my thesis and everything like you said. And like I mean that's probably just a test to like us as people. Like I am a teacher, so I naturally want to go very in depth and very step by step with everything, which I think is very good for this community because like. Not everyone reads the cards, so don't worry. I'm gonna do it for you, and I'm gonna walk you through it. Like, and it's okay. Like, and like. And
I think like what I was trying to say is like I think that there's multiple different styles of students, right? Like people learn differently, and there's different methods of understanding the concepts. Like as you said. You'll stop the video and go read the card to see what it does. Whereas like for me, I'm a visual learner. I need to see what the card does. Like I can read the card all day long, but like sometimes when I'm deck building, like even if it's a bad deck, it takes me like a whole day to be like, oh man, do I play 2 of this card or 3 of this card? I really don't know. And I have to like sit down and test the deck and do like 100 test hands to be like, okay, you know what? I'm actually drawing this card too much, or this card actually has a really niche interaction with this, which is why I should play it at 3 instead of 2. But like, I have to physically see it. I can't just like look at someone's deck list and be like, oh, they're playing this, and this, which like coordinates with this, and this, and they're siding that because it helps them go this. Like, I need to see it. So for me, I guess like we try to elaborate on our learning style as well.
Yes. And like, I'm not the type of person, I'm not the type that can have like, just like a deck profile online and be like, all right, here's the deck. It's on Dueling Book or whatever online simulator you're using. Here it is. And it's like, we personally, like we have to have the physical cards. Like I have to learn by physically having them. So like, again, at the end of the day, it's just like our style of learning. And we like, in order to go in depth, I feel like having the physical cards really helps us and we can show them to people and we can actually I don't know. There's something about having the physical cards and doing a test hand with them that like is a whole different level of learning. And like, I really like the way we do deck profiles, and I don't really care about like making a video 10 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever. Like, I would rather.
It's about the information.
Yeah, I would rather fulfill as much knowledge and like put that out there for as many people as I can, so that they don't have to go to 6 different videos of the same profile just to get like the information. Like, I would rather be like, hi, it's a one and done. Come here. I'm going to welcome you in with open arms, and we're going to go through it together. Like, I don't know.
And I think, as I said, like being Italian, I think some of that I will take full responsibility for not being able to stop talking about. Like, when there's a deck, like, we've been talking about Marincess a couple times. So it's like, yo, we just got this brand new extender that like normal summons and foolish burials and excavates to add. Like, this card's broken. Like, does it lock you into water monsters and like make the deck terrible? Of course it does. But like, it's still like sometimes we're just like, we're so passionate about like these rogue decks that like a lot of people look at these rogue decks and like you would never think of like a lot of people, I would argue, don't know what Marincess does. Like, if I ask you, what does the Link 4 do? You'd be like, oh, give me a minute, I got to go to TCG.
Wonderheart. Yeah, like, and I mean, and I have this like fear at the end of every profile. I'm like, oh my God, like the teacher in me is like, oh my God, did I explain this enough? Like, what if I didn't? Did I not say this? Did I actually say this? I can't remember. And like, I always want to be so thorough. Because A, I'm a perfectionist, and B, I just don't want anyone to be confused or to not understand something at the end of the video. So like, we're basically perfectionists at the end of it all. We just want to provide the best experience. So we're always really pushing ourselves to do that.
So there's a journalism parallel with what you guys are doing with these videos in journalism. We call these breadcrumbs, and it's basically like when you elaborate like all these videos, and if you somehow just forget along the way, you can kind of use your videos to kind of go back. It's like, okay, I forgot this combo. I forgot what this is. What's the point of this? And that's what this is. It's like leaving a breadcrumb trail for you. Like if you're like in a maze, like I'm gonna leave a little trail behind so I can follow back. And that's exactly what this is. So it's like every article I write, every tweet I make, if I have to make it, like, shoot, I forgot what happened. I can go back to them and like remember exactly. And that's the beauty of the videos that you guys are doing, is that like you've got every single step of the way kind of mapped out, logged out. So if you just miss it, you go back, and I think that's just a really an underrated resource nowadays, because I've seen so many deck profiles that say like, no, this does this, but I start to see them like not just on your channel but everyone else's channel, that they're starting to evolve now, where like I'm going to do this combo for you and show you it on this video, so that way you understand what it is. And it becomes so much more informative and so much more useful. So I think that's also like a big contribution to why we're seeing like this kind of like these new wave of players become so skilled so quickly, because we have so many resources at our disposal. And the way that you guys put out your videos, I love it, because again, you're explaining it the way it is. And it's like being a teacher, it's showing your work. You got to show it. You have to prove it.
Yes. And like you have to model it too. Like the big thing they tell us in teaching and education is like, if you want students or people to learn anything from you, you have to show it. You have to model it yourself and be like, I am going to show you exactly how to do this so that you can do it too. It's basically like a monkey see, monkey do situation. Like you have to model. You have to show that, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. And that's just like a very basic thing they teach you in education.
Yeah, I think like it kind of comes full circle, because like Logan's, I think it was Monday. This week. It was this week.
Yes, it was Monday the 30th. It was 1 year since I got my invite with Paleo, so I put a new profile up.
She put the profile up, and I'm like, and from the Next Deck Duels video that we did last week, I was like, man, that zombie deck that I was playing, it was a pilot version. It was something that I was just testing out. It wasn't like anything solidified, and I didn't like it. And I was like, man, what was my old build? Like, I had to go back to our old video and watch what I used to play, because like I've changed that deck so many times. Yeah. And like Logan came up to me that like around like noon, and she was like, why were you watching one of our videos? I was like, because I needed to know what I was playing. And like it was funny, because like there was one time, like I remember finding the cards for like the old profile, because I think that version was better. And I was like, why was I playing 3 of this? This card is a 2 of for sure. Yeah. And it's like, man, just in that month, we've grown that much just to learn little things like that. Like it's just it's a cool resource to have, like to be able to build off your own videos.
Yes.
And absolutely that's the same thing I do with journalism, because like there are so many tidbits that like maybe I just forgot, or I need like an exact date of when this happened, so because I do a lot of follow-up stories as well, because that's typical in journalism. So I need to have that kind of information access to me. That's why I always keep an archive of everything I write. So it's just useful to have it. I mean, that's why archives exist, right? So that way we know, like we can like progress. So I love how you do those videos. And again, like when I look through that Melfi video, I'm like, Okay, I got this a lot more now. Now, I still need to learn how to actually play the deck because I don't have the cards on me still. But it gave me a much better comprehensive understanding of how the deck works at least. So I'm glad that you guys are putting in this new different approach in because like you're explaining into this the farmer out in the middle of nowhere who doesn't even know what Yu-Gi-Oh is.
Yes.
That's exactly it. That's exactly how I was taught when I was writing journalism. And I'm glad that you're kind of implementing it as well as like the teacher in you, Logan, that makes you describe the videos like that. And I really enjoy how that's done. Who cares if it's that long, but it just shows there's more information that's packed into it.
Exactly. And like if it's too long, you can skip through it. Like that's okay. I would rather have it be too long than not enough, you know?
Yeah.
Like I would rather have Farmer John in the middle of the field, in the wheat field somewhere, understanding this deck than him just being like, all right, cool, I learned absolutely nothing from this. It's all about, like, for me, it's about being accessible at the end of the day. And if, like, I can make a video as accessible as possible to people, then that's all that matters.
And the best part about the internet is, like, even if you don't like the fact that the video is 24 minutes long, you're not forced to sit there and watch it. You know? I know that the Paleo engine is 3 swap, 3 dupe, 2 run, so I'm going to skip to the traps and see what they are. Like, that's the beautiful part about it. And, like, even today, this morning, I was Logan was still sleeping. I made coffee, and I was testing the deck that I'm going to play for this weekend, and I played a Dragon Link player, and he literally said to me, he goes, man, I screwed up a couple times. I wish I knew how to play this deck a little bit better. And I was like, man, I'm not trying to, like, plug our own stuff.
Did you send him the how to play Dragon Link
video? I was like, we literally made a video on how to play this deck and how to beat the deck. And he looked at it, and he goes, wait a minute, you're like, you actually made this video? I was like, yeah. He goes, my buddy sent me this morning. I'm like, dude, it's so cool because, once again, like as Logan said, we do focus a lot on Rogue, but like we are competitive players. I know that like the alpacas don't really give that.
I know we have fun. We can't be competitive, but like we do, and like we try to like every now and then. Like we put up an Orcus build like a month ago, and like we just put up like he said the how to stop Dragon Link, like basically a tutorial of how to beat the deck instead of just how to play it, because we know everyone doesn't want to play it and they know like what it does or whatever. But like we want to show people like how you can actually fight the interactions and like get through it. So like we want to also be a resource to people in the competitive sense as well.
And like for the profiles, that's part of what it is. Is like in order to know how to beat the deck, you do somewhat know how to you have to know how to play the deck, because like you need to know that like, okay, cool, if you stop the normal summon, the entire deck is extenders, so it doesn't matter. You've got to know what the choke point is so you can hit it. Because if you just hit the first thing you see, then it like sometimes it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, wrong.
And I think that a lot of people seem to like kind of forget that misconception about people just because they have like some sort of like persona or gimmick on their channel. Like for instance, you guys have the alpacas, but you know, you can't. That doesn't mean like you guys aren't like are terrible at the game. Like for example, like a team like Sam, like Team Samurai X1. I've never actually played it before, but you know, we go to the same events all together. I've sat beside him so many times, and this guy he plays like a machine. He may be this big hyped guy you see on YouTube, but deep down he can play like a really good game.
Absolutely.
And then like with Triff, for example, I played him at that Toronto. I played him at the Toronto Ridge. Yeah,
you love Steven.
Big, like again, there's this big, like high energy, like let's go guy kind of guy. But I again, like I sat down, I played him at that Toronto Regionals, and he was the only person who 2-0'd me. And like, but we had like a really tough, intense game with each other. And he's not a joke playing. And then same with like Yassine, like 6'5". Again, I played him. Love him too.
We have a big picture of Yassine on a shelf behind us when we film.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, I love that guy. He's always been so good to me. Like we always see each other all the time, like Montreal or Ottawa.
Yassine is really like one of the best. He's one of our closest. We love Yassine to death.
Love him.
I feel like people get really like pulled away from the fact that like the personalities on the channels and everything, and the whole like YouTuber element of us. But like, we all have our shtick, and like the shtick, yes, is a big drawing point, and like. We get it. It can turn people off, of course. Like someone will always not like something that you do, and that's totally fine. We get it. But like at the end of the day, it's also like it's not to discredit who we are as players. Like
you'll never see us at table 5 billion. Hang on, before I normal summon, I gotta ask Tops if it's okay. Like that's how it is.
Yeah, it's not gonna be like triples. What do you think we should do with this normal summon? I don't know. Like I'm never gonna like. It's never gonna happen. It's like we're still just people at the end of the day. It's just the alpacas are just the fun little extra bonus that you get.
Yeah, like aside, like Yu-Gi-Oh is the game that we play, but like YouTube is the platform in which we showcase it on. And I do think that sometimes that does get misconstrued.
Yeah.
Like, there is, believe it or not, even though we make Yu-Gi-Oh videos on YouTube, there is a huge difference between YouTube and playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
Definitely that. And like ever since like when I played these other guys, it's like they know how to play it because like they've been immersed in the game more than you think. It's kind of like when you get surprised when you see like a celebrity kind of do well, like if they play like sports or something. But it's like they're kind of immersed. They can be immersed around it. They might have better access to it than we do. We think so. Like you can't really underestimate like these Yu-Gi tubers that are out there that play the game. Like a lot of them do very well. Like I'm sure if like you guys and I like we ever like dueled each other, I'm sure that like I wouldn't take you guys lightly, and I think that you guys would actually give me a very good match, and I wouldn't underestimate you guys for a second, even though you've only played for like 2 years.
Stay tuned for the next episode of the Great Expectations podcast.
Oh boy,
duel to the death.
Exactly. Ooh, I like where this is going. border to border. You know, we're gonna have to go at it. Oh, and I'm gonna stir the pot.
One control player to another.
No.
All right, so Logan, I'm going to stir the pot with you just a little bit more from something you said a while ago. You said you were, a big Chicago Blackhawks fan, and like back in the heyday when they won like 3 cups. Yeah, I'm also a big LA Kings fan, so we went back and forth on each other. So there's that little rivalry that we had, for several years on end. So I will admit though, that was some of the best hockey I've ever seen in my life.
Honestly, like Sharp was something else, and like I love hockey, and like honestly, like before that I was a Rangers fan because like New York. And then I've kind of like, since I don't live in Indiana or near the Chicago region anymore, I've kind of evolved into the Sabres because I mean we're right here, and like it's easy to go to a Sabres game and be like, woohoo, I'm a Sabres fan.
Buffalo's minutes away from us.
So like my loyalties are a little loose with hockey. I'll admit it. I'm a bit of a fake fan. I love hockey. My brothers played hockey growing up. Like it was just like just a part of my life. But yeah, like I don't know. I'm just with whoever's doing well.
I mean, maybe that's why I like Peyton Manning so much because he's just one of the top. So I'm like, oh, he's always winning. I'm like, at least I have the privilege to be able to say that every one of my sports teams, depending on what sport it is, I've been able to see them win a championship. But then I've also seen them like suck for so many years as well. So I get like the best of both worlds, I guess, if you could say that. So I get to have that kind of fun. Well, that means I guess I'm gonna have to set a date with you guys someday so I can play you guys eventually. Then.
We can make it happen.
I guess we're gonna have to make this happen then. I guess I got to come over to I might have to come over to your channel then and get this happening.
Honestly, like you want that to happen, like I'm down. Like,
all right, that means, but I guess that means I have to take the 2 alpacas that are in my house and I got to have them with me now.
Oh, absolutely! You better start making some voices for them, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
they gotta find their voice.
I'm pretty sure I can come up with some voices because I'm also a sports broadcaster as well. So I'm pretty sure I can come up with some voices around that as well.
Absolutely, it should come naturally. Like
I know, right?
I don't know how the alpacas for us got their voices. It just kind of happens. I don't.
We've run out of voices.
Yeah, like literally half of them don't have voices because I'm like, I don't have a very large like spectrum of voice acting career. So like it's just like triples is just the high register of my voice. Tops is Bryan, and like I'm bottoms, and like that's it. Like it's just I don't know. We look at them and we're like, well, this is the voice they're gonna have, and take it or leave it. It's fine. Yeah, it's awesome. I love my alpacas. I love my channel, and I'm happy.
Well, I'm glad I don't have 51, and I just have 2, so I only have 2 voices to deal with. Possibly, if we ever get this happening, it'll be funny as hell. But God, I look forward to this, and I was looking forward to talking to you guys all week. I knew you guys like kind of busy, and that's life. That happens. Like that's the life. That's the life of a journalist.
Yeah. School. I graduate next week, and I'm just like stressed to death. But it's okay. We made time. Like we all make it work.
Yep. I mean, that's the life of a journalist. It's all about making sure that you can adjust to everybody else's schedule because that's how it is. Because they don't have to. Nobody has to talk to you. I can just go, like. I've had it happen before, so that's just what it is. So again, both of you, thank you so much for coming out, Logan, Bryan. I'm really glad. Like this is probably one of the more like upbeat podcasts that I've ever done. I don't think I've ever laughed so much on my own podcast. Yeah, exactly that. It had so much fun. Do you guys have any shout outs that you want to give before we head off?
I mean, like, honestly, like, I think we want to shout out, like, our entire community.
Yeah, like, I was going to say, I'm like, I really feel like we would just shout out our community in general.
it's been as you said, like it's been just about 1.5 to 2 years, and we have 20 plus thousand subscribers. Like it's still mind blowing. Like, so to every single person who's like gotten behind us, who's backed us, who supported us, who subscribed to us, who's just like we're so grateful for it.
Yeah, I love you. You're all great. It's something so real every day that like I will never not be extremely grateful for. Like literally everyone who's ever supported the channel, our locals, our like Millennium Games, like everyone from our locals, everyone who's been good enough to help us become players that are not suck.
We want to. I think Big 3 Deals is another one. We officially landed a product sponsor after like just like a year of doing the channel thing.
We have a product sponsor now. They're absolutely amazing. They are the ones who actually sent us triples before they became our product sponsor. So they are the reason triples exists. They are so amazing. Yeah.
Super duper nice. It's three brothers who just like they reached out and they're like, we love what you do. We really appreciate what you do for the community, and we just want to be there to help you guys grow in any way possible. Yeah. And like teaming up with them, we've literally seen the joy that they've brought our community, and like it has been the best move. Like, I don't think it would be fair for us to not plug them. It's Big 3 Deals. Use the Crush Cards. Crush Cards 5 at checkout, and you literally get like the best. And not like I'm not just saying this as like something to like just to promote them, but like honestly, they try to make the competitive, like the most competitive prices on the market, because they want people to have access to product. They want to have it like affordable, and they want people to be able to play this game because like we love it so much, they love it so much, and they just want things to be accessible. So it's just like to see that in them and for them to reach out to us and support us in just a year, like it really is surreal.
And they also just redid their website, so make sure you check it out. It's got us all over it.
It may have enough packers too.
But yeah, just thank you to our community. Thank you to everyone who supported us at our locals. Big thanks to John, House of Champs. I have to thank John personally. Like we've grown to love John and like have such a strong relationship with him. And like he has helped like me in so many ways when I was trying to figure out like our stream setup and just getting the channel to a little more of a serious point. Like John's in our Discord all the time, and he's just so cool. He's so kind, and like he's done nothing but help us and be a mentor. And like there are a lot of YouTubers who have been really amazing friends to us, like Blade, and like I could go on. Like we love the scene. Trip.
Like there's so many people that we love. Like
absolutely.
Shout out list is so long.
Like I think it's so easy to rag on content creators, but really like we all do really support each other at the end of the day, and it's no competition, and it's just literally we all just want to see each other do well. So I have a big thank you to anyone who's ever supported us and let us be a part of their community, and everyone who's been so welcoming. Like I don't know, like I'm thankful, and like I mean obviously we have to thank you as well for like welcoming us into your community and letting us do. We've honestly been looking at your podcasts for a while, and we've seen all of our like our friends and stuff go on it. We're like, oh my god, it's kind of cool. Maybe one day we'll get asked. And the answer was like, oh my god, we got asked. We've never done a podcast. And we're like, yay!
I felt like so bad because I've had so many of like some local friends or like just kind of nearby friends kind of ask me. I'm like, I just can't, because like I gotta have like people that are like kind of well known. I can't just like, not a lot of people are gonna want to tune into like a kind of like a no name like local that nobody knows of kind of thing, you know. I got to be a little bit selective in mine. So like, I feel bad for having to turn down so many people, but like I know you guys were big, you guys were getting up there. I'm like, yeah, I gotta ask these guys. I'm like, man, this will be like awesome, because like the first time I get to do like a duo as well, which would be pretty cool as well.
We're honored that we even got to be like the first duo, and that like you asked us. Like I was super like when I saw you message us, I was like, oh my god, yes, we did it! Like
I opened the message, and before I even had a chance to read it, she goes, "Is that Kid Guardian?" I was like, I don't know. Let me read it.
I was so like almost irrationally excited, because I was like, I don't know, it's like those things, like even though we have like the amount of subscribers we do, like that's not what I think about. I don't think like, oh, we have 21,000 subscribers. I'm like, oh my god, like we get to do something in another community, and that's so fun. Like our series Linking Up, where we do stuff with other content creators, like that was like one of the most fun things I think we've ever done, and like I can't wait to bring it back. But like just being able to do things with other content creators is one of the most fun things on the channel, because like it's amazing.
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever like laughed as much as I had on any other podcast with you guys. This is probably one of the most upbeat podcasts I've ever had, and I'm So glad that I asked you guys. So Logan, Bryan, again, thank you so much for coming on to my podcast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man.
All right, that is Crush Cards, Logan and Bryan, over 21,000 subscribers. Subscribe to their YouTube channel if you haven't already. The links are going to be down below in my YouTube channel. And again, thank you so much. Have yourselves a wonderful night, and I can't wait to do stuff with you soon in the future.
Oh yes, you better make
sure.
you better make some time, get some voices, and everyone, don't forget that you matter, and I love you.
All right, thank you. Have a wonderful night, guys.
Take care, man.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. For more information, check out the Gate Expectations podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Patreon, Twitter, and Spotify.